So you're in a very good place in Paradise Valley if you're a parent of gifted children, but if you're any parent of children, we have a tremendous amount of offerings for high ability, average, gifted, struggling students at every range. The services that we have for gifted students, though, are not real well known because it really takes you to come out and seek those out when you see that there's something different going on with your child in school. So please take a look at our gifted website. We have hundreds of links there. We have parent information, articles, research, things that you can take a look at in addition, just about gifted education, in addition to learning more about our gifted programs. On the website, you will also learn about what the teachers have a training that they receive, what the expectations of the teachers are if they are teaching your children who are identified gifted or being in one of those gifted programs. So today, we are going to really kind of give an overview of everything. And it's a lot, seriously, I could talk about these categories for about 8 hours. So it is a snapshot, but it's something to guide you when you are seeking more information on the gifted website or to guide your questions when you call my office. So biggest questions I get about testing. How do I know if I should have my child tested? What is the procedure? What's the best time to test? And what does the test involve? If you feel that your child in the classroom is probably getting things really quickly, finishing work really quickly, or maybe is not understood by the teacher or other students, those are some indications that you might want to have your child tested. They learn very quickly. The material, the standard material, the grade level, many of these kids, they see things differently. Sometimes they don't give the response that other kids do, but it's a very high level. They have a lot of questions. They read early. The procedure is on the Gifted Ed website. There is a parent nomination packet that you can download and send to your classroom teacher. Then the teacher will give it to the gifted specialist at that school and turn it in to me. You do need to go through the nomination scale. There's a parent nomination scale that really talks about some of the early indicators of giftedness that you see at home, that you have seen since your child was maybe a baby or a toddler, that the teachers are not going to see. So you're going to see different things that the teachers see. There's a teacher nomination packet as well, and they're going to look at more some of the behaviors in school, the characteristics that they see in school, but that's different. So we require that the parents fill that out, and then the state requires that you do sign a parent permission to test form, and that is also in that packet. If you are a parent of a primary age student, and that would be K through 3, we highly recommend we test in the spring of the K year is when we start, but we do our big testing in the spring, and actually because we have 32 elementary schools, our spring testing actually begins in February. So there is a testing schedule which is also on the Gifted Ed website, and you can see when your school is going to be holding their testing. You will want to get your parent permission to test forms in 1 month prior to the test date so we can schedule appropriate amount of timing and for at each school. We have a fall testing as well, and that is pretty much for the kids who go and pull out services. And I'm going to talk about our services soon, but that's pretty much grades 4 through 6 in the elementary school anyway. And then we have our winter testing, which is predominantly for ELL and other culturally and linguistically diverse students that we're going to use a different test because not all tools are going to catch gifted, high ability and measure the high ability for all populations. So we do have a couple different measures that we use in different testing times. We want to test our big testing in the spring though, because that's when we start making staffing decisions and student placement decisions for the fall of the next year. We generally want to start the spring of the K year because I have seen in my life hundreds of kids, gifted kids, who take that test in the fall in kindergarten, don't qualify, score highly, but don't qualify, and then the parents and teachers think the child's not gifted. So then a year down the road, 2 years down the road, we're seeing some behaviors or some occurrences in the school that are troubling, or because the child may be not understood, the academics is understood as well as they should be. We test them again and they might be 99 across the board. Does that mean they were not gifted when they tested the first time in kindergarten? No, it means that they just maybe didn't have the readiness skills It's a group administered test. Maybe there's a lot of just a test taking skills, some of those just that school readiness. They do better in the spring of the K year, so that's why I want to make, and we cannot repeat the same test within 12 months. So we don't want to test in the fall, and then we won't be able to make that placement in the spring for the next grade, for first grade. So that's why we do that. And what does it involve? The cognitive abilities test is the primary test, the first test that we provide, and also the Naegeli nonverbal ability test. Those are the two that we administer in our district, and it is given basically orally, the COGAT, we call it the COGAT, to primary kids, grades K through 2, and then paper and pencil where they bubble in, grades 3 through 6. And the NNAT, the Naegeli nonverbal ability test, is a 30-minute test, and that's administered by matrices, and it's not with any language, with any words, with any cultural biases, and that catches a lot of the kids that we might have missed on the COGAT. That's what we find in our practice. The COGAT does take 3 days, and we administered it at 3 different 45-minute periods. So this test is not for everybody. It's very difficult, and it should be because it's testing for giftedness. And we don't want to test, it's lots of instructional time if we give it to everybody. That's why it's really important that we're testing the kids who we have strong indication that they probably would need need something else. So what do these tests measure? A lot of parents will call me and say, how can I prepare my child for the gifted test? Well, you can make sure that they have a good night's sleep and that they have breakfast in the morning and that they're healthy. The ability test measures just that, ability, potential for learning. It's very unlike an achievement test. An achievement test measures what the child has already learned in school, in life, facts, information, that type of thing. So some parents will say, my child is great in school, gets straight A's, is a really good student, but he didn't qualify for gifted on your test. Not all gifted students are high achieving, or highly achieving. Not all high achieving students are gifted. So one of the real important reasons that we test is so we can make sure that we're providing the appropriate instruction so that the gifted student will be working to their potential, so that we know what we need to do instructionally and also with the curriculum and the placements. So these tests of general ability, the content of the test items varies, but they really all measure general ability. So in the test, you will see that the cognitive abilities test is divided into 3 batteries, verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal. And then the Naegeli test is a nonverbal ability test. They all measure general ability. So it really does not matter to me, for placement purposes, what area the child identifies in. I want to consider them gifted because, as you will see when I talk about the gifted identification, this measures potential for learning in all areas. Now, it's true that a child who identifies on a verbal battery of COGAT might have more language-based strengths, but it does not mean that they won't have language-based strengths if they identify on a nonverbal ability. It's the construct of the test item that makes it verbal or nonverbal. It's not the way of thinking or the way of learning. So I really want to tell you that because it's a widely misunderstood concept. So when we talk about general ability, call it G, this is what allows people to learn and everything in life. It involves words, numbers, pictures, everything that they think about. It involves reasoning, memory, sequencing, math skills, patterning, connecting ideas across different domains, making connections, drawing inferences, analyzing simple and complex ideas. When you look at that list, doesn't that really apply to everything that the kids do in school and in life? So that's why we want to consider them as globally gifted. They are gifted, and then we want to help develop those areas within the context of the curriculum that the students need to learn. High ability relates to the way they they see and make relationships between ideas and things, the way they acquire and retain information, and they do this very quickly. They do this a lot faster than other students, than average students. And that's why the identification is so very important for instruction. So we know that this child needs to spend less time on certain curriculum than others.